Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live to talk about episode 6 of the anime series Net-Juu no Susume. And I thoroughly loved this episode. It was sweet and adorable. Motoko going on 2 successive dates, one night after the other, with Yuta and Koiwai. And this because, of course, as we saw at the tail end of the previous episode, Yuta had pieced together through the MMO that she was going to be there a day early, and she was going to be left hanging, probably thinking herself stood up or something like that. And so he had to get out there and had to be there in the nick of time. And that happened. And this just happens to coincide with Koiwai's calling Motoko and sort of being apologetic and then going on to, make the recommendation, hey, you're out. Why don't you, you hooked up with Yuta. Why don't you go out and have a night on the town with him, go on a date with him. And it really backpedaled my initial reaction to what Koiwai's interests were in all of this, because not only is he suggesting in that moment, go out with Yuta, like trying to hook them up. On his subsequent date with Motoko, he is playful, he is joshing and everything like that. He's sort of playing pranks, making interesting, suggestive, directive comments about Motoko when she's sort of passed out, she's sleeping in the restaurant after having too much wine or something, and sending those messages to Yuta to provoke him to come chase him down and all this stuff. But even all the while he's on his date with, his date proper with Motoko, he's championing Yuta. He's talking up Yuta the whole time. And I'm like, dude, all right, this guy's an awesome broski. He's got his boys back. He's playful. He's a prankster. He's kind of like that, but he really is, heartening in what he's trying to do. He really cares about Yuta and he wants to take care of him. He supports him. And this was something Yuta, described him as in the workplace even. He takes care of him. He makes jibes at him, but he takes care of him. And it almost seemed as though Yuta was trying to persuade Motoko over to considering Koiwai. And even after their date, he goes home and he's like, well, I had my chance. And, now the ball is in her court. She's going to go out with Koiwai. She's probably going to like him better than me. And it was a little bit depressive, that aspect of it. But to see how whip smart he was to race to the restaurant when he thought Motoko was endangered by Koiwai. And Koiwai, both, there was some dialogue there in the interplay going on between he and Motoko on their date, where he almost gave a cursory tip of the hat to his, how he managed to know she was going to be there waiting in the wings. And then he makes up some story. Oh, well, actually, I was on my way home from work and I just happened to see you and knew you were going to be dating him, and thought maybe you had confused the nights and everything. Schmoozing his way very thinly from her suspicions along those lines. And then Koiwai calls him on it later on, after sending the picture text messages and saying, oh, I could probably have my way with her and all this stuff. And he races out and he even gives him, he was in Osaka or whatever. He gives him a souvenir and he's going for Motoko as well. But then Koiwai's like, but really, you don't use that transfer station. So how did you know she was going to, all that stuff, calling it into question. And so it was a sweet, adorable episode. I loved seeing these characters coming together, Yuta and Motoko especially. But even in the date with Motoko and, Koiwai, he was championing Yuta and trying to just inflate her potential interest in him. And, she's kind of enamored, but of course she goes home and she becomes truly relaxed. That is her bastion of heavenly grace. Her solace is being in her room, sitting at her desk, playing her MMO and such like that, jacking back into it. And, but, she was complimented by these two guys. And I think in both cases, they were being fairly genuine. And, she cleans up well. She cleans up really prettily, and she's deserving of something, one of these guys. I mean, of course, I'm not a shipper, but I'm pointedly sort of pseudo-shipping she and Yuta. I think they are well complementary to each other and are much deserving of each other because of the care and support and the familiarity they have with each other. And once again, I think the former MMO that they both talked about playing before the one they're in now, I think we're going to find out, that they knew each other back then already. They've had this long-standing rapport. And it's just going to make it that much more elating for both of them when they realize this is who they are to each other online and this is who they can be to each other offline. And it just warms my heart. I just love it. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 6 of Net-Juu no Susume. If you've seen it as well, if you agree with me that this was all kinds of kawaii rather, not kawaii, adorable and sweet and just heartening, all that stuff. Did you get a kick out of her being on these dates, these 2 dates with these 2 guys, and all that good stuff? I mean, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Or even if our POVs happen to disagree, I just love having that conversation. And but I'd be surprised if anyone had any real complaints about this episode. I think it was all kinds of sweet and satisfying. And so yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. I'll catch you all later. Peace.